Hey there. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the big book. This is going to be my first what reading of the series, where I'm going to be talking about the books that I've read, the books that I've finished, and the books that I'm currently reading, the books I plan on reading, and the books I haven't finished. I would like to do this regularly. This month has been super weird for reading. I wasn't expecting to be so busy because of carnival season, so I've ended up doing a lot of things that I wasn't really planning on. And then of course, I keep picking really heavy books and I'm like, oh, I don't want to read heavy books anymore. It's kind of like an accident. It's been kind of weird. So I got a lot of books done, but unfortunately I didn't really like any of the books I read. The first book I finished, Ego is the Enemy. This book I ended up giving 2 stars. I thought it was really hard to read. I didn't think the guy was even a good writer. I mentioned it in my wrap up. I was halfway, but I ended up finishing it just because I like to read books that make me want to do something and be productive. So even though I didn't like the writing style, I still feel like I got something out of it, which is good no matter what, right? I read another A.S. King book. I crawl through it. This is me the entire time. Needless to say, I had no idea what was happening in this book. I was really confused. Plot was weird. And then I think there was multiple POVs. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't really care. And it wasn't one of those things where it all came together at the end. Like it ended and it was really ambiguous. I gave that one 2 stars, I think also. The next book I picked up, Preacher. I didn't finish this. It's a graphic novel and it's very violent and I didn't like the story and I love graphic novels, but I really don't like violence. I came to this realization today, which is probably an unpopular opinion. I don't like Tarantino movies. I was thinking back on it, I was like, yeah, I guess I like Kill Bill, but I think in general, as a whole, I really don't like violence, and Preacher was so violent, so I stopped halfway through. It's like, I don't really need to be reading this kind of content, especially if I don't like it. Then I read Fight Club 2, which I was not dying to read at all, but my friend had it, so I borrowed it and I read it, and yeah, skip it, honestly. That's my recommendation. If you really love the first Fight Club, don't read this one. I feel like he wrote it because he was pressured to, and the work just kind of seems sloppy and borrowed. And again, it was very violent, and I'm like, ugh. I like the book. I think I don't mind violence so much in books. It's more descriptive, but when I see things, it's kind of more desensitized violence, while violence in books, it's more you have to picture it. And maybe it's just the genres I read, but the violence I read in my books aren't violence for violence. They're violence you have to have some sort of attachment to and empathy. And for Fight Club 2, I was established with these characters with Tyler and Marla. I didn't care just because it was 10 years later and I felt so much changed and I wasn't into it. The ending of Fight Club, I don't remember the book specifically, but I remember the ending of the movie was one of my all-time favorite endings. And you guys know by now that I am such an endings person. I love good endings. So I was a bit disappointed by that. The Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. This is what I'm reading for my book club. I'm having a hard time connecting with it. I'm letting my friend borrow it right now. That's kind of what we do for our book club. We somebody will buy the book or to get it from the library or something, and we'll just kind of pass it around. Just so everybody doesn't have to buy a book club book they maybe don't want. It's nice and it's positive, but I don't feel that much conviction in reading this and wanting to change my habits, which you think you would, but it's just so hard to relate to these very highly religious, committed individuals, and you are in your own life. There's nice things about meditation, but again, it's just hard for me to relate. I don't think I'm gonna finish it just because I don't really love it that much and I don't want to mess with things that I don't feel I really love. It was okay. I'd say I'd give it 3 stars even though I haven't finished it, but probably 2. Honestly, oh god, it's but you feel so guilty giving it's oh yeah, you're gonna give the Dalai Lama 2 stars? I just gave the Dalai Lama 2 stars. I read this and I actually really enjoyed this. This is another kind of self-help book, and I really liked reading it, and I was very engaged, and it's a quick read and it's well written, but he's kind of a douchebag. This is what I hate to admit. I did get more out of this book than I did from Book of Joy. I don't want to identify more with the douchebag than the Dalai Lama, but here I am identifying more with the douchebag than Dalai Lama. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about it, because at least like he is like self-aware, and like he talks about his wife a little bit. Oh, she always wants to look beautiful, and then when I tell her that she should change, she gets mad at me, and that's like the flaw of his wife, and it's just like very shallow. I don't know, I enjoyed it. Talking about like books that you liked, and you can like very blatantly like see the flaws in it, but like I liked it. I like what I like, I guess. I did not finish this one. I don't really know why I haven't finished this one. It's good, but it's not great. It's called Lucky You by Erica Carter. This was like the book of the month pick. And I enjoy it, but I don't love it. But it's not bad either. And it's pretty engaging, and it's like a quick read, but it's like very forgettable. The worst thing you want to hear, like, I want a book to be really good or really bad. Or it's like, oh, it's so forgettable. It's so basic. Nobody wants to hear that. That sucks. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I would like to finish it, but I'm not gonna be super sad if I don't. I'm reading this right now, Beloved by Toni Morrison, and it took me like 50 pages to know what the fuck was going on, and then I realized what was happening. I like it, like I really, really like it, but it really annoys me when it takes 50 pages for like the path to be clear, and that's just like, this isn't accessible, and it's also fucking pretentious. I feel like it's pretentious as hell when books make you like wait for 50 pages. Like, I'm not into that. Yeah, it's good afterwards, but I'm gonna continue because like I got over the like first 50 pages that like didn't even really try to make sense. I'm buddy reading this with Fasika at A Novel Millennial, and she said she had to like restart the beginning like a few times just because it wasn't making sense. So I'm really annoyed about that, but other than that, it's a very like beautiful, heavy novel. It's a slave narrative, pregnant slave narrative. Good God, ugh. I know, I'm just like, I just want to read something light and fluffy, and then here I end up with this. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm enjoying it. Just know that the first part is really hard, and I never heard anybody say that. So I'm saying that to you if you're thinking about hearing this, because I know like this book has been around on BookTube a lot, just like, the beginning's fucking hard. So the next couple books I'm gonna be reading this next week, I picked up Haruki Murakami, A Wild Sheep Chase. I am reading this with Michael from Michael's Shelf. I don't really know what this is about. I think it's like a businessman and he's chasing sheep through something in Tokyo and outside. Ugh, so good at summarizing what I think a novel is about. So I'm excited to read this, and then I'm picking something up from the library. There Are More Beautiful Things Than Beyonce. It's like poetry, and I've really been into poetry. Like the cover looked awesome, and oh my God, I hate to admit this, but part of me was just like, oh my God, they're talking about Beyonce, and I'm not even like that. I'm seriously, I swear guys, I'm not even like that. I got just the beehive. I wanted to try this one out, so I'm gonna read it soon. I get it tomorrow. I'm really excited, and I'll let you guys know what that said about. I will talk to you guys soon. I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Subscribe down here and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and tell me if you've read any of this book and what you thought or what you're reading, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Oh my God, look at all these bugs. Ah, oh my God.